Well, hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Joanne and I hope you're having a great day wherever you are at the moment. So I've got a lot of updates for you and I'm going to try and keep a timestamp for the replay crew, and then you can go exactly to the place that you want to go to, so you don't actually have to watch the whole thing if you don't want to. For those of you that are watching, hello, and as I said, it's really great that you can join me. And again, I've just come on, I started to look at some stuff and I thought we need to do an update. I need to do it now, so I apologize. Yeah, I'm being very naughty with the fact I'm not scheduling them. I'm usually pretty good, but you know, I apologize. Yeah, and I'm just playing around with some stuff at the moment as well. So again, I apologize for that too. But anyway, so let's get on with what we want to talk about. So I'm going to start with, let's have a look. So apparently two of Trump's prosecutors have resigned. Two of the prosecutors from the Trump case have resigned. And I thought that was very interesting. This is from The Guardian. The Guardian in Australia. This is their report here. So let's have a look. Hello, Bo. How are you? So key inquiry into Trump's finances in jeopardy as two prosecutors resign. So one of the most aggressive criminal investigations against Donald Trump appears to be running into the sand after two leading prosecutors in the Manhattan District Court's attorney investigating the former president's finances have resigned. Hello, Plan to Create. How are you? The inquiry by Manhattan prosecutors into the operations of Trump and the Trump Organization have been the most dangerous of the many legal perils facing him. The investigation started in August 2018. And according to the New York Times report, the two top prosecutors in the case have quit the proceedings amid signs that the move on Trump is stalling as it reaches a make or break moment. It's really interesting how it's got to this crucial point and they've resigned. The Manhattan District Court's District Attorney's Office confirmed to The Guardian that the resignations did actually occur. They said in the statement they were grateful for their service. The statement also insisted that the investigation into Trump was still ongoing. So the newspaper reports a grand jury convened under the Manhattan investigation as the first steps to indicting the former president has gone silent for the past month, and no witnesses called before it. Anonymous sources, or we've got these famous anonymous sources, told the Times that Bragg, who took over the investigation when he began as DA in January, had indicated he was uncertain about taking the case to the next level. Whatever Bragg decides to do in the coming days or weeks, it is clear that his office has been under mounting pressure recently as the inquiry reached a critical stage. Hello, Grant. Prosecutors were aware that the clock is running down as the present grand jury's term comes to an end in April. It was always going to be whether or not to pursue Trump all the way to court. As a criminal proceeding, the standard of proof is high. Not only would Trump have to have been found guilty beyond reasonable doubt, but prosecutors would have to show that he willfully committed the crime and hard to do in alleged financial fraud. Hello, Osbel. Should the criminal investigation Trump and his family business collapse, that leaves the civil investigation that has been conducted by the New York State Attorney General, Letitia James, and for several months that they've run in tandem. So remember, this is the criminal investigation, not the civil investigation. So we're only looking at the criminal investigation at this point in time. So in January, James opened a window on what the two teams of prosecutors had come up with when she alleged that Trump and his family had falsely and fraudulently valued multiple assets. They included golf clubs, hotels, and real estate holdings, which James alleged were either inflated in value to attract loans or undervalued to reduce companies' tax burden. Trump and his lawyers have constantly denied any wrongdoing and decried the parallel probes against him, a politically motivated witch hunt. Both Bragg and James are Democrats, while Trump arguably remains effectively the leader of the Republican Party. News that the criminal investigation might be running into difficulties is the first piece of potentially good news for Trump in several weeks. In recent days, he's been battered by a succession of dire developments on multiple fronts. Last week, his longtime accounting firm broke off relations with the Trump organization, saying that a decade of financial statements it had approved were no longer reliable. Days later, a New York judge ruled that Trump and two of his children, Donald Jr. and Ivanka, had to testify under subpoena in the James investigation with regard to ongoing investigations into his role into the insurrection at the US Capitol on January 6, which are gathering pace. The US Supreme Court delivered Trump a blow last month. It allowed White House documents which Trump had been trying to block to be turned over to the House committee investigating the events. In addition to the James investigation, Trump faces several other potentially serious legal actions. He's been sued for defamation by journalist E. Jean Carroll, who has alleged he essayed her in the 90s. A federal judge this week sounded dismissive of attempts by Trump's legal team to countersue Carroll. The former president is also the subject of grand jury in Georgia, which is looking into whether he criminally violated election laws when he urged the state chief election administrator to fine him $11,780 would have one more than would have secured him victory. Grant don't know whether he has any ties to the president of Ukraine. No idea. So Trump's got more than his hands full by the looks of it. More than his hands full. All right. And well, I guess the only winners out of that are his multiple law firms. I mean, whether he's got multiple law firms or one law firm that's doing all his legal work, the lawyers are going to be the winner. To be honest with you, because there's about 4 or 5. It looks like there's 4 or 5 cases going on at the moment. So, hello, Dan. How are you? All right. So let's look at Bruz. So we know that there was a subpoena being returned yesterday. The Clinton files. Yeah, I don't know. So there was a return of a subpoena yesterday. The subpoena was returned on the 20. We went through the administrative listing, return of subpoena, and it's adjourned for hearing. So we got the orders for that. Now this is interesting because, again, this is granting leave for them to view the documents and copy the documents related to the New South Wales Treasury. Now, it looks like that the New South Wales Treasury subpoena, they're talking about documents produced in packets. So they've got packet, and so they're in various packets. So packet S10, they can actually copy and do whatever they need to do. But the balance of the subpoena addressed to New South Treasury, including any application for leave to inspect the documents, packet 11, to be adjourned to the turn of the subpoena list before a register at 9:30 on the 2nd of March. So, it's very interesting that the stuff from the Treasury is multiple and really high, No, I haven't installed the Truth Social app yet. That it needs to go back. The balance of the subpoena has to be done on the 2nd of March, which is this one. So the balance of the subpoena, including an application to request. And remember, this is all money. And then you've got the hearing on the 21st of March. So they're not going to actually have a lot of time to actually, copy and digest all of that. So, but again, they're paying big bucks. So it's definitely going to be interesting. So the New South Wales, I'd love to see what's in those New South Wales Treasury documents, to be honest with you. I would really love to see what's in them. Just out of my own, interest. Oh, it's where is it, Dan? Oh, it's sunny. Oh, it's overcast, but it's nice. It's really nice in Melbourne today. So talking about Melbourne, there's been an administrative error. I don't know how these administrative errors can occur, but apparently there's been 1,200 police officers working in Victoria without the proper authority. Now, I don't know whether this is going to void any arrests that were made by these officers. I don't know what the outcome of this is going to be. I forgot to timestamp Bruz. Sorry. I just remembered that I was timestamping. So 1,200 police officers have been working without proper authority. Officers to be urgently sworn in and legislation to be rushed through state parliament. They're trying to make anyway. So thousands of police matters could be in doubt after it was discovered more than 1,200 Victorian police officers and protective services officers have been working without the authority to do so for up to 8 years. For 8 years. 8 years. So there could be 8 years of arrests in question. The state's Chief Commissioner, Shane Patton, on Thursday revealed that an administrative oversight after the introduction of the Victorian Police Act meant 1,076 police officers, 157 protective service officers, and 29 police custody officers had been incorrectly sworn in between July 2014 and August 2021. The reality is the number of police officers and PSOs have been performing the role without having the actual authority validly to do so over the period of time. We intend to remediate it. They, of course, have been working with other police officers during that period of time who had those extra powers that the police are granted, and they also have those standing powers as any citizen has to conduct arrest. In the past, deputy commissioners were able to appoint acting assistant commissioners who went on to swear in graduating police officers. But changes made to the Victorian Police Act in 2013, which came into effect in mid-2014, acting assistant commissioners needed to be appointed by the Chief Commissioner or a Deputy Commissioner to whom the Chief Commissioner had delegated authority. So what that means is that on a number of occasions since 2014, an acting assistant commissioner on occasions have sworn in police officers and protective service officers without having the valid powers to do so, Patton said. He said about 660 officers would be sworn in on Thursday, with the remainder in the coming days. Victoria's Police Minister, Lisa Neville, said she had been aware of the issue on Tuesday. Legislation would urgently be introduced to State Parliament next sitting week to ensure all decisions that have been made by officers have validity going forward. It's really important we act quickly. I know that the opposition are being briefed as we speak. I'm very confident that they will want to provide comfort to those police officers and ensure criminals don't get away with crimes because of an administrative problem we've had over the last 8 years. She said it was her hope. Her plan to create says all they do is hand you your badge. She said it is her hope that both the legislation passed both houses of parliament during the sitting week to minimise the impact we'll have in any cases. The advice that I have is that if we do this and it's done retrospectively, it won't undermine any criminal or other actions undertaken by these police officers. Patton said his expectation there would be no ongoing ramifications police officers involved. They've been acting in good faith. They've been performing their duties in the belief they had the requisite power, and as a result, we will continue to indemnify those officers. So it looks like the government and the police force are looking to make sure that all of those arrests stand. But I won't put it past people to try their luck with the law. I mean, I can just see the courts now being flooded with, So plan to create says all they do is give you your badge. Oh, that's going back a bit. Christine Nixon. She was the chief commissioner, wasn't she? Was she the police commissioner at that time? So yeah, that's pretty cool. So I would imagine, though, if you found out that there was a question over that would leave you as a police officer very, very, very nervous. So we'll see what happens. But there'll be some smart aleck people that will try and get away with some stuff. Yeah, she was the chief commissioner. Yeah. So you know what people are like. People will try it on. Now, what I'm finding really interesting, I'm going to move on to one. I did cover this case at the start, and I read some of the affidavits, which were pretty horrific. And I haven't really covered it because of the nature of the cases. But Ben Roberts-Smiths is a highly decorated military man in Australia. Yeah, it's just a technicality. That's right. It's just a technicality plan to create. But you know that there are people that are likely to try it on. Now, Ben Roberts-Smith is he's suing some newspapers at the moment for defamation. Now, there have been some really damning stuff come out. So a former police officer turned department investigation tells defamation hearing the Victorian Cross recipient asks him to take blame for letters at the moment. So he's a retired officer. He's a highly decorated, so he's got the Victoria Cross. But the issue is that he's suing the media for defamation over the fact that they've alleged that he has committed war crimes. He has there have been, ordered a mock execution of civilian during training drill, defamation trials heard. Some of the stuff that has just come out have been horrific. So we're gonna look at this one, but this is really, yeah. So I'll put a trigger warning here. Just be aware that we're going to be talking about war crimes. I'm just going to put a trigger warning here for you all. As I said, his ex-wife came out and talked about the fact that, there's been stuff where he's between him and his ex-wife and him and his partner and all it's just. Says a former police officer told Ben Roberts-Smith he was a weak dog and warned him cover up is 10 times worse than the offence. After the decorated veteran alleged to try and conceal writing threatening letters to a serving SAS soldier, the federal court has heard. we won't ever know half of it. You're correct, Grant. And I don't really want to know the other half. What I read in the affidavits and everything has been horrifying and tragic. If it's true, he's got a lot of questions to answer. Robert Smith asked retired officer John McLeod to take responsibility for the letters McLeod told the court during the dramatic evidence on Wednesday. A former Queensland police officer turned private investigator and security consultant McLeod appeared under force of subpoena in Robert Smith defamation action. Robert Smith is suing The Age, the Sydney Morning Herald and Canberra Times over a report he alleges are defamatory and portray him as committing war crimes, including murder as well as acts of bullying and DV. The newspapers are pleading a defence of truth, and Robert Smith denies any wrongdoing. Now, what's really interesting is that in the truth defence, every detail has been, as I said, put out there. McLeod, called as a witness by the newspaper, testified that Robert Smith had urged him to take responsibility for sending letters during a Cladstein meeting in Brisbane 2018. Just tell them you're a supporter of mine and you were sick of the way I was being treated, Robert Smith said, according to McLeod. McLeod told the court he realised 2 sealed envelopes he'd previously been given by Robert Smith to post to an SAS soldier contained threats, but when discussing the letters, Robert Smith denied they were threats. They're not effing threats, it's just a touch-up, Robert Smith allegedly told him. McLeod said he told Robert Smith, if you put me in the frame, if you've compromised me, you better get a good lawyer. McLeod said he urged Robert Smith to admit to sending the letters. If you've done something stupid, put your hand up for it because cover-up is 10 times worse than the offence. Robert Smith again urged McLeod to say he'd sent the letters as a supporter of the Victoria Cross winner. I said, F that, you weak dog, and I walked away, McLeod said. He said he'd not spoken to Robert Smith since. McLeod was asked about his employment by Robert Smith and then wife Emma and a friendship he developed with the couple over a number of years from 2011. The court heard Robert Smith paid McLeod $1,500 in 2018 to surveil and film a woman with whom Robert Smith was having an affair when she visited a termination clinic. McLeod gave evidence. Robert Smith also employed him as a pretend barman at a party to eavesdrop on employees of Channel 7, where Robert Smith was a regional manager. He wanted to know what they thought of him. In 2018, a serving member of the SAS, known in court documents as Person 18, received 2 letters warning him over evidence he'd given as part of the Bruz inquiry into the potential commission of war crimes by Australian soldiers. You and others have worked together to spread lies and rumours to the media, and the Inspector General's inquiry, the printed letters said, evidence before the court was shown. You have one chance to save yourself. You must approach the inquiry and admit you colluded with others to spread lies. We are very aware of your many murderous actions over many tours in Afghanistan, including specific dates. Just like when you took part in the execution of 2 persons under control of Tazak. You know what you've done, and so do we. Person 18 is scheduled to give evidence next week. I don't know what a touch-up is from a train killer. I know. It's really quite interesting. Last week, Robert Smith's ex-wife, Emma Roberts, told the court that when the letters were made public in 2018, she confronted her husband. What the F have you done, Robert said she asked Robert Smith. He told me he'd written the letters, he'd printed them at the 7 office, and had sealed them in envelopes, addressed them, and given them to family friend and occasional employee John McLeod to post. Robert told the court she'd previously seen her husband walk into their house with paper, envelopes, and gloves. She said Robert Smith had asked her about a PO box for the SAS regiment in Perth and whether there were security cameras on post boxes. In his evidence last year, Robert Smith denied any involvement in the letters and said the conversation with his wife never occurred. That's not true, he told the court. He told the court during his evidence his ex-wife was extremely bitter. She has done things along the way that have been detrimental to my family, particularly to me, because she thinks it will hurt me. On Wednesday, McLeod told the court he was given a blue envelope containing 4 letters by Robert Smith at a Brisbane Bunnings store in 2018. He was given scraps of paper with 2 names and later given 2 PO boxes. McLeod posted 2 letters to Person 18 from a post box in Tweed Head, the court heard. He did not know their contents. The other 2 letters for another soldier, known as Person 1, were to be thrown out because Person 1 was overseas, McLeod said in evidence. He told the court he did not dispose of those letters but gave them to his lawyer, who gave them to the Australian Federal Police. McLeod told the court that the day the existence of the letters was reported publicly, Robert Smith summons McLeod to a meeting in Milton in Brisbane. When McLeod arrived, Robert Smith warned him, no phones, no phones, no phones. McLeod said he and Robert Smith discussed the letters, with Robert Smith urging McLeod to take responsibility for sending them. Under cross-examination, McLeod was questioned about his friendship and employment by Robert Smith and his wife. The court heard that McLeod was employed to do odd jobs for the couple, from organising security, picking up dry cleaning, or transporting Robert Smith's medals. McLeod even collected Robert Smith's military breakup after it was thrown out in the rain after his marriage broke up. After severing contact with the former soldier, McLeod maintained contact with Emma Roberts through her friend Danielle Scott. Brett McClintock, acting for Robert Smith, said McLeod was an ally of Scott and Roberts following the marriage demise. He cited text messages to Scott where McLeod referred to Robert Smith as a prick and a psycho. As demonstration, McLeod was hostile to Robert Smith. McLeod admitted there's a degree of frustration and disappointment. McLeod was asked whether he'd spoken to journalists about Robert Smith or assisted with the media reportage. No, he told the court, I despise the media. The court was shown a video of a 60 Minutes from 2021 that featured Gladstone recordings of Robert Smith's voice. McLeod was asked in cross-examination, do you know how they got this? They got into the hands of Channel 9. No, I have no idea, he said. McLeod was cross-examined over extensive text message correspondence with Scott. In the aftermath of the 60 Minutes show being aired, McLeod texted Scott, I need to get out of town, asked why he felt he needed to leave. He told the court he feared, he was worried he might be attacked by supporters of Robert Smith. I was worried about ramifications, being shot in the head. McClintock asked him, are you seriously suggesting that evidence is true? That I'd be shot in the head? Yes. McClintock, that's a weird lie, isn't it? McLeod, no. McClintock said McLeod would do anything to destroy Robert Smith, which is why he'd come into the court to give evidence against him. No, I did not want to be here. I had no intention of being here. I was subpoenaed to be here. The trial before Justice Anthony Bazenko continues. So, look, another superior officer said that Ben Robert Smith threatened to smash him in the face. Emma Roberts testified that the first time that she knew that he was having an affair was when the person that he was seeing appeared on the front doorstep, battered. So it's a bit of a nasty trial at the moment, and so the newspapers, as I said, have filed a truth defence, and so they're going all out to show you the truth. So I don't know how this is going to end, but as I said, it's been going on for a long time. And yes, it's very interesting. So there's that one. I know some of you are here for Katie Joy. I'm leaving her till last. I need to give her as much time to do what she needs. Now this is another interesting story. Now Hong Kong's got a little bit of problems at the moment with COVID, and dozens of living domestic workers in Hong Kong have been fired and are sleeping rough in the winter because of the fact that they have COVID. They got COVID. Now, I was reading somewhere else that everybody in Hong Kong actually has to have a COVID test, I believe. I've seen reports of that. So living domestic workers in Hong Kong have been left homeless after they were diagnosed with COVID-19, and the employers fired them or refused to return to their residence. So many of the workers, who are mainly women from Indonesia and Philippines, have been left without insurance to cover their medical bills. Hong Kong is in the middle of its worst ever outbreak, with the Omicron variant infecting thousands of people a day, overwhelming hospitals, and government facilities. The problem is exacerbated by strict policies of mandatory isolation for patients in close contacts, with tens of thousands of people unable to find accommodation. Instead, they have to isolate at home, but in the case of domestic workers, their employers have refused to let them. There are an estimated 390,000 domestic workers in Hong Kong, working 6 days a week for a minimum of Hong Kong $4,630 or US $593 a month plus food and board. They are legally required to live with their employers, and isolating anywhere else other than government facilities or hospital is illegal. Maria, a domestic worker from the Philippines, tested positive on a rapid antigen testing. She said her employer gave her 3 options: pay for her own stay in a quarantine hotel for 2 weeks, go to hospital and tell them I'm very sick, or have her contract terminated. I went to hospital in the morning. There were so many patients. I finished at 6 o'clock in the evening. My employer told me I can't come back to their house because I was dangerous. I was afraid I would transfer the virus. Stranded at midnight, Maria's friends reached out to NGO help for domestic workers who found a place in a shelter. Other workers have been forced to live in parks, at overpass, or outside hospitals. Help said they were assisting more than 100 workers left homeless, including at least a dozen who were fired or ordered not to return home. On Tuesday, the Philippines consul to the city accused the Hong Kong residents who were firing and evicting their workers of illegal and immoral acts. It can be proven that they were asked to leave because of their sickness, and this can be considered a legal dismissal under employment ordinance in Hong Kong, said Relay Tadada, adding the mission was helping more than 60 people. We are engaging also the employers to explain to them that terminating their employees in difficult times, especially when they are positive, is not only illegal but immoral. So this is their tents. So yeah, what do you reckon about that? That's pretty scary. I mean, that's pretty sad. But I know that they're in the midst of their worst ever outbreak at the moment. In how Hong Kong's COVID response went wrong. But there's and they haven't reached the peak yet. So this is a photo of a holding area outside the hospital. You know, they're getting 16. They've had 16,600 cases so far this year. So 90% hospital beds were at 90% capacity, and more. So it's pretty scary stuff in Hong Kong. And again, that's COVID testing. Reminds me of Melbourne a few months ago, just before Christmas. So it's yeah, as I said, it's quite scary. I'm just going to take a drink of water. I'll be but I was reading somewhere that everybody in Hong Kong had to have a COVID test. I don't know how you do that. All right. Now, we have some more concerning behaviour, in my opinion, and this is the Instagram. Hello, Kellyanne. got here just in time. I'm just going to refresh it just to double check, see what's been added. There is another one. Oh, no, there's not. So this was the concerning one that one of the ones that I was very concerned about. Well, our government's is just sort of, our government philosophy at the moment is that we're going to live with it. So, and Swollen Pickle showed that more people have died from this one than any other one, any of the other variants. So, and of course, the new one is coming out as well. So that's even more scary. Anyway, so I don't know what's happening, but there is something happening. This was posted, but he seemed such a nice guy. He couldn't hurt a fly. Seemed so good with kids. My son never seemed afraid of him. My kids loved him. He was great. Youth leader, coach, boyfriend, teacher, grandfather. He was great. Kind honest. Child grooming. Know the signs. Protect your kids. Learning that someone in your life is a predator can be earth-shattering. Predators are not who you think they are. They are involved in the community, volunteers, and they can con their way into making people believe they are good people. Child predators are almost someone you know. If you're aware of someone who is a predator, do not allow them into your child's life, no matter who it is, period. So this is the thing. What is going on? I can relate to how it happened to someone I know. And then she goes, it happened in homes I know of non-IBLP. Kids are taught to be secretive by predators regardless of the cult. I'm sharing specifically for all people, not one group. So everyone's sharing their stories. Hi, Bella. Now she's saying it's not IBLP specific. So she's been on this IBLP rant, but now it's not specific. Then the next post she posted, she decided to, rumors have been flying that Abby Duggett is pregnant. Redditors have found her Pinterest page where she has been pinning gender reveal pins recently. I reached out to a source who knows Abby, and they allege that Abby is pregnant with their second child. Of course, she announces it before. She has to announce it before they do. My source alleges she's dealing with severe morning sickness called hyperemesis gravidarum. She had this condition with Gracie. My source alleges it's worse this time, and she's profusely ill and struggling to care for Gracie and herself. A few weeks ago, Abby was seen at a consignment sale in a wheelchair. According to my source, Abby has been extremely sick. She has been struggling to take care of herself and Gracie. You've just said that. My source wasn't sure how far along Abby is, but they allege she's about 12 weeks pregnant. The photo was taken in November, and there's no visible bump on Abby. Your guess is as good as mine as far as her due date. That's all alleged now. And then someone says, although she could be pinning that type of stuff if she's in charge of someone who's gender reveal, but she was very sick the first time, so I can believe it. And then she says, I trust my source. So here's the thing. Whose job is it to reveal pregnancies? Now, it's the Toad's birthday. She says, happy birthday to the most amazing husband in the world. He's smart, funny, creative, and can literally fix anything. Water damage to your walls, no problem. He can dry a wall that back to new. Issues with our lighting, he knows all about electric circuits and fixing them. Leaky faucet or broken garbage disposal, he knows all about plumbing. Snow in the driveway, he's got the best snow blower. Issues with your car, he can fix those too. I've never met anyone that can fix anything. It's truly a gift. He also builds guitars, paints, writes music, plays multiple instruments, carves wood, crafts, burned items, and more. But the best thing is he loves his wife and son with his whole heart. He protects, loves, and makes us laugh He's our glue and our rock. Happy birthday, Von Art Guitars. We love you. And he wrote back, "Oh, thank you for the wonderful tribute." She doesn't say that she loves him. I'm just being really picky. Actually, that sounds like an ad for a handyman, in my opinion. So then, now she's on the brown train. So this is all about so this is about the Browns. So she's now repainting her children's history. So despite the idea that Robin Brown is Cody's favourite wife, Robin has dealt with a lot of nasty comments by Cody about her past. On camera, Cody has stated he wasn't interested in Robin initially because she was a divorced mother of 3. He wasn't sure he wanted to deal with the baggage. He also seemed to allude the fact she was not pure when they got married. Robin has attempted to rewrite her children's history by effectively erasing their biological father from their lives. She had a portrait made of Cody with her kids as babies. Cody was not around during that time. She also tweeted in 2013 that she regretted having her children with her first husband. She said she wished she'd always been pure for Cody and her children and had her children with him from the start. Robin's ex-husband was not the nicest man, according to her. However, neither is Cody. When she tweeted her regrets about having her kids, she then walked back the statement and said she didn't regret having her kids at all. She also made her son change his name from David to Dalton. Robin insists he wanted to change his name. Dayton was named after his father. Wasn't it Dalton? Has she changed his name? She also, so says here, I'm just reading what this says. She also made her son change his name from David to Dalton. Robin insists he wanted to change his name. Dayton was named after his father. It's Dalton, right? However, I would bet that Cody didn't want the reminder of David at all and manipulated the name change. You don't have to be a fan of Robin to see how Cody's narcissism has affected her. They've developed what seems to be a hero-victim relationship. Cody is the hero that continually rescues the victim, Robin. It's super unhealthy and does not allow for grace, but that's just my opinion. So she can't get the names right. Then she's got this one, a disturbing episode from season 6. Cody makes Robin tell the kids about her purity mistake. She called her marriage to her ex-husband a mistake. She claimed he stole her purity. Then she gave back her purity to Cody. She wanted to be pure for him, even though he wasn't pure for her. Her kids from her first marriage are sitting there listening to their mum call them a mistake and their dad a thief of purity. It's sick. I can't believe this ever aired. Cody literally admits to making Robin do this. It's gross. Well, Bobby the cat had a great video where he talked about the cupcakes and Todd's birthday. So that's her Instagram today. She's had a little bit of Duggars, but she's still got this this whole concept of there's something brewing. There's something. I can feel it in my waters. And she did it. She got, I believe, her video that she did today, unless she's deleted them, has had lots of negative comments because she announced Abby's pregnancy and people have actually called her out for it. So let's have a look. As I say, that's not her job to say that somebody's pregnant or somebody's not pregnant, correct? Oh, now she's saying She's saying Janelle Brown might have already left Cody. How Mary and Robin could have pushed her out. So now she's painting another picture, another story. So exclusive. Exclusive. John and Abby. No. John and Abby expecting second child. Abby struggling. So it's had 7,000 views. We're going to have a look at this one. So she's training out videos at the moment. Sister Wives and Duggars at the moment. I don't want this to autoplay. Right. I just want to look at the comments. Okay. Happy birthday, Todd. Oh. They're not there. She must have deleted them. She must have gone on a big delete because there was comments there under the video about the fact that she shouldn't be talking about someone's pregnancy. So all the comments that are there are positive ones. Interesting. Or happy birthday. Oh, yeah, I love you, Katie, but I don't think it's fair for you to announce someone's pregnancy before that they have themselves. Even if it's true, it's not your day until the pregnant woman has confirmed it. Sorry, but I don't think it's right. It's really interesting how the negative comments. Oh, I would be angry too. I would be angry. Oh, I would be really upset if someone announced my pregnancy before I did. I knew what you meant. As I said, I saw earlier today, I should have screenshotted a lot of negative comments, but they've all disappeared. Interestingly enough. Happy birthday. Like, they were wishing Todd a happy birthday because she said that by liking the video, you can wish Todd a happy birthday. Oh, there you go. I don't understand. Katie said she wasn't going to cover pregnancies in the IBLP anymore. What's going on? I'm happy for both of them, but I've lost interest in this family lately. She has been getting a lot more negative comments lately, yeah. Your title is misleading. This isn't exclusive. I read about this last night on Yahoo. Why are you announcing it before Abby has a chance to? That's just rude. Not exactly your place to announce news like this. Someone needs to ask Katie whether she made him any cupcakes. With respect, Katie, I work in Media Australia. Don't trust your source, as this is not new news. We've known about Abby's pregnancy for months and printed it, maybe based in Australia, but our sources are excellent. One of the reasons our sources trust us is we don't take pictures of people in wheelchairs from behind. I thought you weren't going to talk about the peace stuff anymore, like who is pregnant, who's getting married, who wore pants, because in your words, you're too busy dismantling a cult. You screamed at us when we brought those topics up, and you asked questions about the things other outsells were reporting and you had a fit and blocked everyone who dared to ask you. Excuse me, but the video you showed is an old pic and clip of John and Abby's first child. It's kind of strange putting their daughter gender reveal, which is old. So there you go. That's that one. So she's just done another video. So yeah, I consider it to be really rude. She's just trying to. Janelle Brown might have already left Cody. How Mary and Robin could have pushed her out of the family. This is where she gets all of this from. I'm not watching it. I think Janelle is happy with the status quo. I don't think that they've had anything more than a platonic relationship for years, and she's okay with that. She seems to come and go as she pleases, focusing on spending time with her kids and grandkids. I don't think she tends to give Cody as much thought as other co-parents. I really appreciate your updates. You who are so good at finding information. How are things with the properties now? Maybe something can be confirmed from there. You left out the part where she says she's staying. I'm not sure about that, but I wasn't with Christine either. No, I say that in the video. I said she says she's staying. So again, another clickbait title. So the title says she may have already left Cody, and then at the end she says, but she says she's staying. So that's clickbait, right? So anyway, that's where we are with Katie Joy. So I'm just waiting for some stuff. Now I was watching EKC the other day, and she came up with she had the same conclusion that I did. It was when Emily D. Baker mentioned that that Swanson was asking for terms of settlement. If you correlate that with all of these outbursts about family and feeling isolated and not having anybody, the victim mentality that she's been portraying lately, it all tallies. And she hasn't covered the new motion from the Josh Duggar new trial, that he files a motion. Yes, well, that's right. That's what I think that's what all of this is about. She's preparing for the poor me thing. Now, there has been speculation that maybe she has an Instagram ban for 14 days, which is why she hasn't done anything for that time, because she hasn't been live, because we all know that when she's in this mentality, she likes to have a rant on Instagram. Has she got a ban? I don't know. So work, I got to do something different last night at work, and I got to be on the unsorts desk, and I had to, so you have this conveyor belt, and I had to do South Australia, Western Australia, Gold Coast, and Canberra. So anything that was going to those, I had to pick them up. I had to and put them on their belt, put them into a cage. So it was really, really interesting. Sorry, and South Australian Northern Territory, they go together. So it was definitely very interesting, and you get to see, and of course you get everything. You know, you get all the dangerous goods as well. Yeah, which is very, very interesting, which I really enjoyed doing. So I don't know what I'm going to get tonight. You know, you just sort of turn up and see what happens, and you know, but the amount of stuff that comes through is just unbelievable. You know, every day. People like their hair dye. That's all I can say. People like their hair dye. Oh. Anyway, based on that, so I want to thank you all for joining me. I'm going to head off now. I need to rest up. I actually just got a message. I had the blood test the other day, so I've got to ring my doctor, which means probably my suspicions are correct. I'm probably going to need an iron infusion, another one, typical. But anyway, I'm just going to ring my doctor and find out what's going on there. And other than that, I hope you all have a great day or night. I will keep you up to date with everything that I can, with what's going on in the world, around the world. Yeah, trying to keep everything going for you. I'll try to keep everything up to date for you. But thank you for joining me once again. Please make sure you hit like and subscribe so you can get updated on all the latest happenings. Thank you to all my members, all my subscribers. If you really like this video, you can click thanks down below, and it's like sending a super chat. You're more than welcome to do that. I won't ever say no. But anyway, I will just catch you all later, and thank you for watching. It's really appreciated, the support and the love, and I will catch you all again next time. Bye for now.